I was just about to introduce you as my daughter.
Oh.
Yeah. So listen, thanks so much for talking to me, because your friend Andrew lent me this. And yeah, well, it's really interesting. It's all about the history of Jamaican friends, and obviously we've got family in the Caribbean, Bahamas. Yeah, so I just wanted to talk to you about it.
I always love talking to you. So.
Yeah, well, I was really surprised reading this that George Fox had actually visited Jamaica in 1671.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just thought that he was like eating potatoes in England, like, do you know what I mean, doing his thing?
No,
Like,
he was busy walking cheerfully across the world.
to the colonies though? Like,
Yeah. Well, the thing was, there were apparently quite a lot of Quakers in Jamaica. And so, yeah, it says here, Quakers established meetings with memberships of perhaps 50 to 100. And
in Jamaica though?
In Jamaica, yeah. And there were a lot more Quakers in the United States. And so they were on their way to the United States, and they stopped off in Jamaica just to kind of check out how they were doing. So, but this was the bit that really shocked me. So they started off landing in Barbados, and it says, landing in Barbados, Fox visited with friends there and had occasion to write his now famous letter to the governor of Barbados, in which, among other statements about his faith, he explained his attitude to slavery. You know, obviously that made me prick my ears up, since we have got slave ancestors. Morris and Diane Minnis.
Say their names.
Morris and Diane Minnis. Yeah, I like to say their names at every opportunity. So Fox declared, wait for it, we do utterly abhor and detest the idea of teaching slaves to rebel.
See, okay, so he's trying to say that he doesn't want slaves to stand up for themselves. And my kind of issue is that, like, in the whole thing about Quakerism, like, trying not to follow rules and, like, questioning everything and, like, pushing back on stuff. And, like, I get this is the same dude that didn't want us to have Christmas or, like, sing or dance or, like, wear colours and shit. Like, you know.
I don't think he was anti-dancing and stuff like that. Well, I don't know. Anyway, that's a whole other thing, but yeah.
I guess I just feel like I guess I have two issues with this. First of all, just the actual fact of, like, telling my ancestors not to put up with the fact that other people were trying to own them, like, that's an issue. But secondly, it's also very, like, dictatorial in a sense, which feels very antithetical to what I love most about modern Quakerism, which is that it changes all the time.
I know, but I guess that's the thing, it's so of its time. So it says here, rather, he would encourage slaves to be faithful and diligent in their master's service, while the masters should treat the Negroes and Indians as part of their families by teaching, instructing and praying for them.
Sorry. Let's just, one second. So, just to make sure that this is clear in my mind, our great leader, George Fox himself, was like, you know what would be great? Is if slaves would not rebel, but as long as their owners pray for them.
Are nice to them and pray for them. And I guess the thing that really, I suppose, both upset me and gave me a bit of a reality check is, do you know, back in 1671, there was obviously this whole kind of manifest destiny thing about trying to get everyone to be Christian so that everyone could get through the gates of heaven. And I guess even Quakers were so steeped in that, you know, and it's just...
I guess I just feel really disappointed because I guess I feel like Quakers obviously have a massive capacity to change, but, like, for me, one of the things that's so revolutionary about silent worship is that your relationship to the divine is purely democratic. It's whatever, you know, it means to you. And this whole idea of, like, Quakers going to the colonies to, like, participate in the colonial project, to convert people, like, it's a kind of history that we don't talk about enough. And funnily enough, actually, you mentioned my mate Andrew, his grandma I think you know this, but his grandma was a Quaker missionary.
She's actually a missionary, I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
Oh, she was the one from Iowa.
She was one from Iowa, and she, like, Hetty came from Iowa to Jamaica to, like...
Yeah.
The irony, of course, is that when she got there, like, she couldn't do the whole silent worship thing, because, like, Jamaicans are... And today, like, the meeting that she founded is, like, full of singing and dancing, which I personally love. It's kind of like putting some spice on, like, a little bit of toast. But I don't, this is the metaphor, but I guess I just feel like if we as Quakers are going to push the envelope on racial equity in the UK, in America, just like we push the envelope on sexuality studies, like we push the pushing for same-sex marriage, pushing the envelope for against slavery when we finally got our head straight, then, like, we have to reckon with that history.
Yeah, we do.
The fact that William Penn own slaves? Did he own slaves?
Do you know, I actually don't know the answer to that.
You should know the answer to that! Nah, I'm no pressure, but, like, there are definitely famous Quakers that own slaves that we all look up to.
And I mean, what William Penn certainly did was he made a treaty with the Indians, which basically said, we'll have your land, thank you very much. And I guess it's that thing that Quakers were part of that whole colonial project, as you say. But then I guess the other thing that really stretches my brain is that I don't feel in a position to take any kind of superior stance over George Fox or William Penn, because I don't know what I would have been like if I had been them in 1671. Do you know, because they were, they were just steeped in this whole...
Okay, but I take issue with that, though. I take issue with that a little bit because, like, this is why silent worship is so powerful, right? Like, this is what Quakerism's main value prop is, right? Like, the fact that one day you could be, like, an asshole slave owner. I'm not saying that William Penn is an asshole. I'm not. Or whoever. But, like, one day you can do these really troubling things, and then you sit in silence and you question yourself and you think, and then you move forward. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I think the difference is that maybe because you're a black woman, maybe because it's your personality, but I have faith that you would sit in silence and be like, wait a second, is owning people morally right?
Well, I like to think so, but the thing that always catches me is, back in the day in Jamaica, if you were a slave owner or a colonist or a friend of a colonist, the slaves were right there in front of you. These days, we wear clothes made by people who are living and working in terrible conditions. We don't see them. I kind of feel like, can I take a superior stance? In 200 years' time, they might look back and say, that Helen Minnis, she didn't question that.
And I suppose what's also true is that you really like chocolate. And if someone back then was going to be like, yo, your chocolate is on the back of, like, slavery and shit, like, you'd be like, but chocolate tastes good though. So, like...
Exactly.
I hear you. I guess I just feel like the reason that I'm a Quaker is that we have such capacity for doing really radical things.
Yeah. Me too.
And I have noticed that the anti-racist radicalness within the meeting just kind of is missing a little bit.
Yeah.
Slash a little bit. How much I don't know.
So what are we going to do about it?
Well, listen to your Swarthmore lecture. Do your reading. Do your homework. And then you have some ideas. This is the sneak preview. This is the trailer.
One of the trailers, yeah. Thank you so much.
You got it, Mama. It's such a blessing to be able to talk to you about this, and I'm so proud of you.
Of you.